This is Sarnia Lambton Daily for Friday, May 22nd. Good evening, I'm Terry Doyle. There have been 8 more positive cases of COVID-19 diagnosed in Sarnia Lambton over the past 24 hours. This brings the total number of positive tests in the region to 243, with 19 deaths and 173 people recovered. This adds up to 51 currently active cases, a number that has been creeping up in recent days. 5 of the 8 new positive cases are at Vision Nursing Home, which is now at 20 residents and 18 staff testing positive in total. The local medical officer of health was asked if he's concerned about the numbers continuing to increase at Vision.
I think the answer to your question is yes and no. So once an outbreak takes hold in a home, we expect it to get worse before it gets better. So all outbreaks have this kind of characteristic flow where they go up for a while and then they come down. And so just because a home is in the upswing of an outbreak, it doesn't mean I'm inherently worried. I think every home is a bit different, and our working with them reveals different barriers and different concerns related to infection prevention control. So I think for sure that's an area that we want to make sure that the home is working on in terms of training its staff and making sure that those things are happening. But just the sheer numbers are not that surprising to me because we saw what happened in Landmark, for example. I think there are some homes that have been very successful at keeping cases down, and I think the question becomes what makes the difference between those kinds of homes and the homes where this spreads. I suspect a fuller analysis, right, because it's hard to do that analysis with just 6 homes, but I suspect that a fuller analysis of homes across the country of which ones have been, or the province rather, of which ones have been able to successfully keep it out and which ones haven't, will end up falling along 2 or 3 dimensions. One is sort of organizational dynamics and capacity. 2 is issues around staffing, and the 3rd is going to end up being infection prevention and control implementation.
As we mentioned, 5 of the 8 new positive cases in Sarnia Lambton come from Vision Nursing Home. The other 3 are close contacts of people already diagnosed with the virus. Meantime, Sarnia City Council held a special meeting today that lasted 6 minutes. Councillor Margaret Bird petitioned City Council to reconsider the approval of gypsy moth spraying. 5 councillors had agreed with her petition to hold the special meeting, but when the meeting started, only 1 other councillor and the mayor joined her in voting in favor of reopening debate on the issue, so the motion failed and the meeting ended. Bird says she has heard from people concerned over the safety of gypsy moth spraying. Health Canada and the U.S. EPA says there is little to no risk to humans and other animals, and there have been no documented health cases involving humans or other animals due to gypsy moth spraying. Well, it's Friday, so let's go out to the Home Office in Petrolia and be joined by Sarnia Lambton MPP Bob Bailey. Bob, how are we on this Friday?
Well, great, Terry. Great weather here today. The sun's shining in Petrolia, and the birds are singing outdoors. I got the patio door open, and the birds are cleaning up the jam. I feed them grape jelly, and I think all the birds in the neighborhood know about it now because you wouldn't believe how much grape jelly I'm going through here. They show up here on an ongoing basis.
So it's like trick-or-treaters at Halloween, and the birds in the spring know to check out Bob's house.
That's right, yeah. So anyway, we enjoy that. So so it's been great. The golf course, I see they're busy again this morning. And since we opened the golf course, I guess it's a week ago now, it's hard to believe. I think it was a week ago Saturday, right?
Yes, it was, last Saturday.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. But anyway, the days run one into the other. But yeah, I see, I've been down to the marina. I took a drive into Sarnia the other day to my office in Sarnia, and I went by the marina and seen all the people there working on their boats. I mean, it was a beehive of activity. People launching boats there at the boat launch. The city launch is open now. So I think people are getting into the river, getting into the lake to do some fishing and socially isolating at the same time. And of course, the golf courses, like I say, more open air activities where people can get out. And I think pickleball was one that they're doing, and some parks are open as long as you're groups of 5 or less in the same household.
Let's talk about the fact, obviously, it was indeed. It was a week ago yesterday, basically. The Premier announced that as of last Saturday, things would start to open up. Are we kind of in that mode? And when you've talked to caucus members and obviously people with government, we're now really looking at the numbers. And, it's not one of those where you see the numbers 2 and 3 days. It's 2 to 3 weeks out to see if the numbers are going. Is that sort of the big thing right now, is watching to see? Probably next week, I would think, is going to be big to see how the numbers start to come in.
Yeah, they want to measure, the testing, and that's one thing I'm sure you're going to see earlier today when the Premier and the Prime Minister talked about advanced testing. They want to see more testing in both Ontario and Quebec, where, the lion's share of the outbreaks been because of the population. And going forward to get to phase 2, the Premier said we need to see those numbers on an ongoing basis, the testing and the results coming down every day. Can't look at one day at a time. You kind of have to look at a week or 2 weeks in a row and a culmination of those numbers. But everybody's anxious to reopen, but we don't want to go too fast and find out that we have, if there happened to be an outbreak, and we had to try and scale everything back. So anyway, just everybody keep doing their part, and they've been doing great so far. I'm glad you raised that. I wanted to say that to the people of Sarnia Lambton especially. They've done their job here, both the business people for trying to reopen the way they have, where they're able to, and of course the people that are respecting that social distancing.
Bob, the one thing I know, and there's been some discussions when the Premier has been on, asking about certain areas of the province, but where say, okay, Toronto is getting hit hard, but Kingston says they have almost nothing. But I guess that's the challenge right now, is Ontario as a province, it's not hard to go from one place to another, that if you live in one community and you're still a lot of things closed and you open up another area, well, it's easy for people just to shift from one spot to another.
Yeah, and that's what the Premier's talking about. He wouldn't want to see Toronto closed, still staying closed down, and Kingston wide open. Well, people be on the 401 and heading right down to Kingston to shop and overwhelm them, and that wouldn't be fair to the people of Kingston. So it's kind of it was like the cottagers in the north, and at the campgrounds we had to reopen them slowly. Tell people to take your own groceries and your own supplies with you, so you didn't overwhelm those small stores or those small businesses in those summer resort areas. And I think that's worked out well. Haven't heard any problems. I know the campgrounds in my area. I've heard from many of the owners and the residents that are glad to be able to get there and be able to start the summer season. And most of them are wide spaced on the property, so there's no issues that way. I tell you the next. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the next issue. I know the Solicitor General put an order in council through a regulation to allow Ontarians to attend religious gatherings, on the condition of respecting safety measures, distancing, and like in their cars, they could park in the parking lot. And anyway, so I'm anxious to. I'm going to actually later this week. Early into next week, do a poll of the local, religious community and find out if that's working for them, or if there's further things that we can do as a government to allow them to open to indoor. But right now, outdoor gatherings can take place as long as those socially distancing things are taking place. You need to be in a motor vehicle, closed in, and I don't know exactly how it would work, but I guess I should go to one and see.
Well, basically take you back to the old drive-in days. I'm sure, go way back when, whether the old days you'd either hang a speaker in your window or of course put it up on, put a signal on for the FM radio and you can call that up. It's got to take you back to the old drive-in days with Mrs. Bailey.
Yeah, I remember the drive-ins. I'm old enough, I remember the one in Sarnia on the Plank Road. I think it was called the Starlight. Out there, it's all gone now. There's all industry out there now, but I very well remember that it was. And there's still the closest one I know is near London, a little place called Stutka. It's somewhere in Middlesex County between London and Grand Bend, south of Grand Bend. I was there years ago. We took the kids there once when we were up at the lake. But that's the only one I know. And I mean, I'm sure there's a couple in London. But there's not many of those left now.
Do you find in what you're hearing with stores opening? I was at a couple stores yesterday where they were still, in Sarnia, they were open, but one store I was at, they had someone positioned outside to basically run you down the rules, follow the arrows and things like that. Are you finding what you're hearing is people, it's one thing maybe what people are following, but at least the stores and the retailers are putting this extra effort in to follow these rules?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that, and I'm glad you raised it. I was at a store yesterday. It's not fair to name one over another, so a very well-known store. And yes, my wife had made this order online, I guess. She'd ordered and paid for it. And I hadn't been there, so I didn't know how the process works. So I pulled into the parking lot, and it said when you pull in there to call this number. And anyway, to make a long story short, you had to have a registration number. Started with R, I think. Anyway, and then about a 6 or 8 digit number. So I met the lady who was positioned outside the store with a radio, cell phone or radio, I guess. And she asked me for my number. I gave it to her. And she said, "Now you go back to your car now and put the trunk up." And so I did. And sure enough, out come this other employee. And they come right over. Of course, they had a mask on, gloves. They come right over, placed it in my car. Didn't need to talk to me, didn't have to interact because I was already paid for, and I was done. I thought, well, boy, that's pretty slick. It really works good. And now you could go in, I guess, if you wanted to pick out something, but only want to, they only allowed 2 or 3 people to go in, not together. Only one person from one family, but I didn't even have to go in. It was ordered online, and I want to commend them for doing what a great job they do, and everybody seemed quite cheerful for it to work that way. Probably, I don't know whether shopping and merchandising will be the same when this is over. Might change a lot of things.
We'll see how things play out going forward. The one thing we're seeing, masks is a topic where there seems to be the recommendation versus, we're not at the point of mandatory, but I'm sure that recommendation, and I get for those situations where if someone is going to a place that realistically staying 6 feet apart is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I had my mask yesterday with me, and I if I'm going into, and I don't go into many stores, my wife does, but she gets me to drive, or my son. But if I was going in somewhere like that, I would put my mask on because, out of respect for other people, because when you wear the mask, you're actually protecting other people from yourself, right? They say that the chances of you doing much to prevent you getting something from someone else is probably remote, but you're protecting other people from yourself. From you transcribe, you could be asymptomatic, right? And spreading it. So I'm trying to be respectful of that. I still see people, when they're walking, they're keeping the distance. They're not getting close to each other. I see them here in town walking, and I think people have got the message. I still see a lot of people wearing these, homemade or paper masks.
We saw the Premier on Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe, earlier this week, get pretty fired up when he was talking about commercial landlords. And of course, there's the federal program that started, and working with the province, working with the landlords, where 75% of commercial rent can be taken care of. But and of course, obviously not wanting to evict people and working with businesses. But the Premier got pretty fired up and was threatening to drop the hammer. And I guess this is an issue that probably, with businesses coming back, either just reopening now or still trying to get on their feet, is probably going to be an issue that's going to be around for a little while.
Yeah, well, like the Premier said, who do they think is going to be lining up to fill those vacancies if they did evict a small business? Like he said, there's not going to be a lineup of people to move in there. He said, until this is solved. So he said, why wouldn't you work with your tenant, your business that's in your, it's to your advantage to keep a tenant in there working, hopefully paying his bills. And so when we come out of this, they'll be able to survive and keep you busy. So yeah, I watched that interview. I was in Queen's Park this week. I was down for Tuesday and Wednesday. We had a session down there and a debate over an opposition motion. So I was down for that, and we're taking turns going down. We're still maximum of 42 members from the different parties and the independents, and we have a question period 2 days a week, and the Premier's there to answer questions in the House, and a number of the ministers as well. So yes, I think that going forward, I'd ask these commercial landlords as well to make sure you work with your small business landlord or owners that are trying to get through this, and at the end of the day, we'll work on this and make it better.
Finally, the public inquiry has already been called when it comes to the long-term care homes, and I'm sure with that is finding out what happened, but also trying to look at ways to improve things down the road.
Yeah, because the Premier acknowledged, and I think there's going to be an inquiry throughout Canada how seniors and long-term care has been administered, but especially we know we will have one here in Ontario. The parameters of it haven't all been outlined yet. It's going to start in September, but I know there's a lot of input going on ahead of time. And like the Premier says, I want to fix this, and it's not going to take 2 years to do this inquiry. That's the difference between some of these inquiries, because if you have a public inquiry, then everybody is allowed standing, and then that means they can get lawyers, and they'll drag things out. Everybody's entitled to a defense, so it's going to be something a lot shorter than that, and a little different than maybe more along the lines of a royal commission. They'll have, I don't know who they'll have headed up, but it'll have to be somebody that, a retired judge or someone that people respect anyway. And we want to solve this going forward. This has been an issue. It didn't just blow up with COVID-19. This has been ongoing for a number of years. And I know there's people in the field, both staff, owners, operators, residents, families, that will want to speak and have input into this. And so I look forward to us at the end of the day being able to solve this and make it better. It's not going to be cheap. We know that right now, that to solve this, and it shouldn't be about the money, but it will be expensive, and we'll have to find those dollars somewhere and make it right.
Finally, what's the plans in Petrolia this weekend?
Well, walking. I try to walk every day, so of course I'll walk through the weekend as well, and go down to the golf course and see how the new operators are doing there, and see how the members are enjoying it. And I think everybody's looking forward to a nice weekend. I know I am.
That sounds good. Hopefully the weather holds up. Bob, good to see you. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, thanks, Terry, and thanks to all your viewers at Your TV. Have a great weekend.
You too. There's Bob Bailey, Sarnia Lambton MPP. Stay tuned. You're watching Sarnia Lambton Daily on Your TV. We are back here in Sarnia on Sarnia Lambton Daily, and this is something that I've been looking forward to all week. We're going to go to Rosewood Manor right now. There's Lillian Price. Lillian is celebrating her 100th birthday today. Lillian, happy birthday. How are you?
Thank you.
How are you, Lillian?
Pardon?
How are you?
Lillian, how did you do it? What's the key to being 100 years old?
I am stunned.
What's your secret? Is it a glass of wine every little while over the years? What's your secret to such a youthful 100 years old?
Oh, well, it's not very often that I get wine.
I think it might be your kindness. How kind you are. That's what keeps you going.
Yeah, I keep going.
Absolutely. Lillian, you've seen a lot over the years, going back to 1920 to now 2020. You've seen a lot. We're going through a lot right now. What would you tell people? Is it just a case you just keep keeping a smile on your face and be nice to everyone?
I guess.
What sort of party are they doing over there for you today?
I'm sorry?
What sort of party are they having for you there today?
Did you get to see your family today?
Pardon?
You got to see your family
Yes.
on Zoom?
Yes.
14 people?
Wow.
I can't believe it.
Wasn't it wonderful?
Yes, certainly is.
If there's any leftover cake, I might have to see if I can drive by and steal a piece, if you'll let me have a piece of cake.
All right.
Well, we're going to let Lillian continue on with her celebrations there. Lillian, happy birthday, congratulations, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, that voice you were hearing in the background helping us out was Jenica Tanguay, the executive director, who now joins me. And it's a great day, I've got to think, over there celebrating Lillian's 100th birthday.
Of course, it's such an exciting day. Everybody here at Rosewood is just full of excitement.
Take me through, I know there's been various festivities going on. If Lillian's out of earshot, you can tell us a little bit more about what has gone on there today, because we don't want to give away any secrets in case there's still a few things planned, but I think she's out of earshot now. So what all has happened already? As we're here at 6 o'clock, but I understand some stuff earlier today already took place.
Yeah, so Lillian started her day off with a Zoom call with about 14 different screens full of family members, and they got to all wish her a happy birthday. She was so overjoyed, and it was a very heartwarming thing to watch. After lunchtime, we got to do a cupcake celebration. So what happened was some staff members got to take Lillian around the building, where we got to deliver a cupcake to each resident, and then they got to wish her a happy birthday as well. And then followed by that, we had the 100th birthday parade. Beautiful day for it. We had an amazing turnout. We had at least over 40 cars. The mayor, Mike Bradley, attended. We had people in costumes. We had classic cars. We even had a 1925 A model, which Lillian would have only been 5 years old when she would be riding in that vehicle. So that was super neat. I mean, overall, the day was just absolutely phenomenal. We can't thank the community and all the staff here at Rosewood and Lillian's family enough. Everybody worked together so well to make this such a beautiful day for her.
I've got to think with everything that's been going on around the community, this is probably just a nice shot in the arm and brought a smile to everyone's face today.
Of course, I think especially with what's going on right now, a day like today just brings so much joy and enlightens everybody in the crazy times that we're going through right now.
And using something like Zoom, where I'm sure in a normal situation there may have been, other more visitors and things like that. You and the staff, I'm sure, had to be a little creative today as well.
Of course. I mean, to celebrate 100th birthday and not being able to, have physical contact with any of her family members, we had to kind of brainstorm a way to make this day perfect for her. So being able to see everybody visually, and everybody being able to drive through our driveway and, stop for a brief moment to wish her a happy birthday, and whatever message they wanted to share with her, it brought joy to her, and it gave her a celebration bigger than we ever thought. So it really turned out great.
We're 9 weeks into this, obviously not just today, but I'm sure the staff in general have had to be creative to help out the residents, having some fun still, being creative and engaged while still following all the safety restrictions.
Of course, with the protocols going on, we did have to restructure a lot of things, and we worked as a team to brainstorm our ideas to keep the joy and the enlightenment and keeping the residents active. So we do a lot of things like door frame bingo, we call it. We'll go around to each room to spend personal time. We do group outings of 5 with, of course, using physical distancing, just so they can lounge out on the front porch and catch the sun and enjoy the outside. Another big thing they like to do is going for daily walks around the building. This too, keeps them out and about. They can smell the fresh air, and it just kind of gives them a sense of, normality of what they're used to. So we're trying in our power to, keep them going they're used to.
Well, Jenica, we appreciate the time. Congratulations to everyone there, and best wishes. Enjoy the hopefully sunshine over the weekend as well.
Yes, you too.
There's Jenica Tanguay joining us as Executive Director over at Rosewood Village, and previously Lillian Price celebrating her 100th birthday. Stay tuned. You're watching Sarnia Lambton Daily on your TV. That's going to do it for our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We are off for the weekend, but be sure to follow the Your TV Sarnia Facebook page for updates on what's going on in Sarnia Lambton throughout the weekend. For all of us here at Your TV, I'm Terry Doyle. Have a great weekend. We will see you back here on Monday.